good, YouTube? It's your boy Mario B coming at you guys today with another OU Wi-Fi battle, and today we are going to be taking on my good buddy Jay again. We caught a battle earlier on my channel, so I'll definitely link that down below so you guys can catch that one. It was a pretty good battle, but yeah, today we're playing some more OU with my buddy here, and we're actually using a pretty fun team with Screens, Grimmsnarl with Spirit Break, and I think Sucker Punch, Weakness Policy, Tyranitar, Life Orb, Arachnid, which has First Impression, and Aquajet for priority, Sub Nasty Plot, Rotom with the leftovers, Focus Sash, Excadrill, and Choice Specs, Draco, Meteor, Shadow Ball, U-Turn, Filler Move, Dragon Bolt here. So you guys might notice something a little different. I do have the locks on full blowout right now. Quarantine got me with no haircut, so my hat's in the room, so I just decided to rock out the locks. But anyways, here guys, I'm just thinking that I'm going to lead off with Excadrill because I see his most possible leads being something like Darmanitan, the Zeraora, or the Torkoal to get up his Sun for his Sun team. I didn't mention my opponent's team, but I do feel that I used a team very similar to my opponent's, except it didn't have Seismitoad. It had Duck Trio before the ban. So that team had like a Life Orb, Zeraora, a Spadef, Bird, what's his name, Mandy Buzz. I always want to call Mandy Buzz a Darkrai, Sun with Venusaur, basically Life Orb with the Weather Ball, stuff like that. But he does end up leading the Seismitoad here, as I'm going to lead off Excadrill. But even though we're in a bad position, we are Focus Sash, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch right into my Grimmsnarl here. I kind of wanted to switch into my Rotom right away, but possibility of Toxic was on my mind, so I decided to go into Grimmsnarl just to possibly get up some screens, get some damage off on this Seismitoad, because it's really annoying and I don't want to deal with it. So Grimmsnarl comes out here, takes the knockoff actually, so he gets rid of our Light Clay, so no screen for 8 turns, but that's not that big of a deal. Here I'm going to get up a Reflect, just thinking he could be physical. I could get off some good damage with Spirit Break if I get the Reflect. He's not really doing much to us, and praying that he doesn't have Toxic. So here I'm just going to click Reflect, feeling pretty safe to do it, to be honest. And my opponent is actually going to go ahead and go up his Rocks, which is a really good play on his end, because as you guys will see throughout this battle, Rocks were pretty much a pain on my side of the field. So I just go for a safe Spirit Break here, as he's going to actually switch out into Zeraora. Probably predicted me to go for something like the Light Screen, but I do go for Spirit Break, and you guys are going to see this does a damage. I got off about 60% there, so really good damage needed off on the Zeraora, since it does outspeed my whole team, since I'm not Choice Scarf Dragon Bolt. But here I'm just going to go for another Spirit Break, thinking he could probably switch in something like the Torkoal or his Venusaur, but he does actually switch into Torkoal. He's going to have his Drought ability, and we're going to get off the Spirit Break, and as you guys can see, it does no damage, showing to me that it's a very defensive type of Torkoal here. So here I'm thinking about whether or not I want to get up a Light Screen, or if I just want to go into Tyranitar and change this weather. The double is on my mind, that he could double into Seismitoad, which would be a great opponent, great choice by my opponent to do. But I'm just going to go ahead and switch in my Tyranitar here, as get up the Sand, override his Sun, and as the Torkoal here is actually going to pull that double into the Seismitoad. So great play on Jay's part over there. So he's pretty much free to go for another knockoff here, maybe even a Toxic. I contemplate going for Dragon Dance just to maybe break through this thing, but ultimately I do decide just to switch out and go back into my Grimmsnarl and just try to 1v1 this thing as low as I can, because he's only switching his Torkoal, which is going to be taking damage, and it's his Sunsetter, so once that thing is gone, Venusaur becomes less of a threat. So here I do take the knockoff again, but it's not going to do a lot of damage. We'll take a little bit of Sandstorm Chip, as here I'm contemplating going ahead and getting up the screen again, because as you guys did see, the screen did go away. So I'm just going to go ahead and get up a safe Reflect here, just to try to 1v1 this thing, as I get up the Reflect here because of Prankster, and he's going to go ahead and reveal the Toxic, and he lands it, which is super annoying, because now I can't really whittle this thing down without possibly sacrificing my Grimmsnarl here. So in my head, I'm kind of thinking, alright, well, let's go ahead and play this exchange out. I really don't mind at this point sacking off my Grimmsnarl, because it doesn't really provide a lot of utility for the team, as you guys can see. Just getting up screens, and I can't really Thunderwave anything with Volt Absorb on his Zero Aura being a thing. So here I'm just going to try to get off some damage, as this does a clean 30%. Get off a special attack, just in case he had something like Scald or Earth Power, which spoilers, he never reveals throughout the rest of the game. But he gets a crit there, and you guys can see it still only did about 6 damage. So Reflect put in the work, but this Toxic and this Sandstorm is starting to really rack up on us. So here I'm looking at the team, and I'm really thinking, I kind of want to switch into Seismitoad because I don't really care about the Sash, because I plan on sacking it to his Darmanitan anyways. But I figure I just might as well stay in and go ahead and go for another Spirit Break. That's what I end up doing. We get about 50% off on this Seismitoad, which is really great because we actually need this down to about 40% so that we can get it in that Shadow Ball range from the Dragapult. So here I'm going to take some more toxic damage. I know I'm going to go down next turn, so I'm thinking, should I just say this is a sack? But then I figure that just trying to get off some damage is probably the better play, as my opponent actually switches and gives me just a little bit more chip on his Torkoal coming in right here, setting up that drought again. So here I'm going to go ahead and Spirit Break, and as you guys can see, boom, big damage. Psych, it did about 2%, but it's all good. We can take all the chip that we need, you know? So here, we're going to die to Toxic. Unfortunately, my Grimmsnarl does go down without doing too much. But we're just going to go ahead and go back into Tyranitar and try to get up this Sand. I kind of was debating going into Excadrill, but Excadrill actually doesn't knock out a max defense Torkoal, fun fact, so only does about 60%, so Torkoal is actually eating out here. But Tyranitar does come out here. We're going to go ahead and reset that Sun. And here, the double into Seismitoad is kind of screaming right at me. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and pull a double and go right into my Rotom Cut, if I'm not mistaken. Oops, I thought this part was a little bit faster, but spoilers. But yeah, I do predict the double, and I actually end up switching out right into my Rotom Heat, praying that he doesn't go for Lava Plume or something, but he actually does make the double into the Seismitoad. And I figure, okay, I'm in a pretty advantageous spot here. I can just go ahead and freely probably go for the sub, which is what I ultimately end up doing. We get a little bit of leftovers, which I was hoping would mislead him into thinking that I was more of a defensive set, but at the end of the day, that ended up not working out in my favor. But as you guys see, I do hover over the Nasty Plot just to figure, thinking about what I wanted to do, but ultimately I do go for sub, as he makes a great play and stays in and knocks off. So he actually told me after the battle he was expecting like a sub Nasty Plot Rotom set. So lucky for him, he didn't switch. We could have got up a Nasty Plot that turn, let off like a +2 Leaf Storm or something, or even a Discharge. But he makes the good play, he knocks us off. Doesn't remove our item, thankfully we still get those leftovers. But here I'm like thinking he's not going to stay in, he wants to sack this thing off, so I'm just going to go ahead and Leaf Storm again, and he actually switches out into the Torkoal again. So super good play on my opponent's end. But as you guys can see, this Leaf Storm is still going to do a little bit of chip on this. As you guys can see, it gets off about 20-25% at least, and that's a resisted hit. So Rotom hit, not leaving without leaving its mark. But here I'm contemplating just going for Nasty Plot, staying in, like thinking he's not going to do anything. But I figured my switching into the Tyranitar could give him a switch into his Venusaur, so I figured I'd make the mid-ground play here and just go for Dragapult, because I can just let off like a Draco or a pretty powerful Specs Shadow Ball, and the only thing that can really take it on his team right now is the Mandibuzz. So he's gonna go for the Lava Plume. I don't really care if he gets the burn, I'm not physical, but he doesn't, fortunately, as here we're just gonna go ahead and think about launching off the Draco or the Shadow Ball, but ultimately I do end up launching off the Shadow Ball as he just goes into Mandibuzz, and I'm gonna go ahead and Shadow Ball, and you guys can see this does pathetic damage. Mandibuzz, why are you so damn thick? I have no idea, and I don't want to know. But anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and double out here and go into Golisi Pod, because I know that his first impression is gonna do big damage to this Darkrai. My opponent makes another great play and U-turn, so my boy Jay here is just making all the plays with the U-turns, with the doubles, with everything. Not to mention he has those rocks up. So here he's going to go into Electivire, but here Jay slips up because a first impression will kill this thing from this range. So I'm just going to go ahead and not even hesitate and click it, as I think he noticed that it would kill him, and he went ahead and switched out back into Mandibuzz, which isn't a problem because a first impression into a liquidation will definitely kill this thing. So here I go ahead and do that, and I actually just YOLO and I click liquidation here, honestly completely forgetting that Mandy Buzz has like an insane speed stat for some reason. I think he's base 95 or something like that, but he's gonna go ahead and foul play us and knock us into emergency exit range. So a little tism moment there, but we're gonna go ahead and switch into the Rotom here. Thinking we can go ahead and discharge for free. Now this is a really risky play because he doesn't want to let me stay in a sub, right? But discharge, he has 2 immunities in the Zero Aura and the Seismitoad. So here I'm really contemplating whether or not I want to go for Leaf Storm, predicting him to go into one of those two. But here I decided to just go ahead and man up and discharge, and it ended up paying off. As you guys can see, he actually stays in and we knocked this Mandibuzz out. So I wasn't playing those games after that Seismitoad turn happened anymore, as we're going to go ahead and lead some more leftovers right here on the field. And Rotom actually put in the work right now, so pretty interesting to use this thing in the OU. So he's going to go ahead and go to Mario B right here, the Darmanitan, because as you guys know, in IB I do have Darmanitan right now. But here I figure I'm just gonna go ahead and sack my Excadrill. It doesn't really put in work against his Venusaur, against his Seismitoad, doesn't outspeed the Zero Aura, so I figure might as well go into my Excadrill here, go ahead and sack it off, right? He's going to take big recoil. I can come in and revenge it with something like the Dragapult if I have to, but he actually goes ahead and U-turns here. So he goes ahead and U-turns, and I'm thinking, what's he going to go into here, as he actually goes into Venusaur. So I think my boy Jay right here lost count of the sun turns, and he actually comes in on the turn where the sun ends. So I'm going to take full advantage of this turn. I'm just going to go for a rapid spin, get rid of these annoying ass rocks that's been on my side of the field for this whole damn game, as he's going to Giga Drain, and Excadrill actually eats Potbelly out here eating, and yeah, he's going to take some life orb damage. So here I figure I might as well get some chip off with the Earthquake, right? Should do about 60-70%, and eliminates this thing as a threat after he takes that life orb damage, right? So here I'm going to go ahead and Earthquake, and it's going to be just shy of the KO, as he's going to Giga Drain, get some of that health back, and get that life orb damage as well. So big threat here, still alive on the field in Flower Girl, as she's going to take some more damage. And here I probably should have gone into Golisopod in hindsight right now, thinking about it, but I figured here he doesn't really have a Draco switch in, so he's gonna have to sack something to this Shadow Ball. So that was basically my mentality here, as he's actually gonna go ahead and set up the sun for himself one more time with the Carl one last time, sack this boy off. This Torkoal put in so much work for him. He really put in a lot of work. And as you guys can just see, that 3-minute timer just popped up. So Carl is going to go ahead and faint here to the Shadow Ball, as we have 3 minutes left. I have 3 Mons left. He has 5 at the moment, if I'm not mistaken, 5 or 4. But he's going to go ahead and bring out his Flower Girl, which will outspeed me thanks to the sun. Yeah, he actually has 4 Mons right now, and I have the 4 as well. So here I'm just going to go ahead and switch into my Rotom Heat, thinking, alright, worst case scenario, he goes for something like Sludge Bomb. We can take 1 at least, but he goes for Weather Ball in the sun. That is going to completely obliterate us, and as you guys can see, he's just going to live on like 2 with that life orb damage. So I silly enough make the play of going into Tyranitar, thinking I could have get some sand chip off, you know, get him killed. In hindsight, I should have gone into the not Mandibuzz, into the Golisopod and just first impression. So this is a big misplay on my end, as I'm going to let my Tyranitar take a lot of damage here. We are weakness policy, so thanks to the weakness policy, we will knock this thing out with the Fire Punch, no hesitation. But yeah, we definitely should have gone into Golisopod here, going ahead and first impression, and nothing on his team really wanted to switch into a first impression at that time. Zero Aura, Darmanitan, or the Seismitoad, none of them want to really take that first impression. So here he's scarfed. I know I'm just gonna go ahead and sack this thing off, as we have 60 seconds left, guys. 60 seconds left. I have, after this turn, a Dragapult, a Golisopod, and a Oh, only a Golisopod and Dragapult, yes. So I'm going to go into my Golisopod here, and I'm going to click Aqua Jet, thinking it would kill this thing. I don't know why I thought it would. I didn't think Darmanitan was this bulky, but it lives on like 10. This man lived on like 10 and knocks us out with the Earthquake. So I ended up running a calc after the battle against a non-HP invested Darmanitan. It only does about 60 to 70%. So I guess I got a really high roll on that. So anyways, I'm gonna go into my Dragapult here as he goes into his Zeraora, and the time unfortunately expires. Jay does take this battle while he has Zeraora and the Seismitoad. So after the battle, me and Jay talked about what would have happened. So I would have lived the knockoff from his Zeraora at that range, but I wouldn't be able to knock out his Seismitoad because of the health that it was at after the battle. So either way, Jay had this. Even if we did have the timer extended, we had more time, Jay still would have won at the end. I really misplayed those last couple turns with the Golisopod, but hey, my opponent Jay just outplayed me that game. I cannot say more, I cannot say less. But anyways guys, if you guys did enjoy that battle, make sure to put a thumbs up down below, and if you guys are new watching my channel for the first time, make sure to subscribe, as I do post Pokemon content on my channel weekly, a couple times a week actually. But yeah guys, make sure to go check out my other series like Road to Ranked and my Draft League as well, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.